I'm Marin, and this is Post-its and Pens.
June 8th, 2014. USA versus Liechtenstein. Late breaking news. From the Daily Prophet's Quidditch correspondent in the Patagonian desert, Ginny Potter.
Hello and happy Saturday. It is April 24th and I am filming my first reading vlog. I figured I would kind of take you along on a typical weekend. I like to do as little as possible on the weekend. Saturdays are kind of my day to really do nothing, and then Sundays I do run some errands and things. But I figured I would kind of show you what it is like. So I am going to be working on 2 books this weekend. So I'm going to be trying to get all the way through Rune and Rising. And then I started listening to the audio of The Starless Sea. I also finished the audiobook of Quidditch Through the Ages already this morning. I started that one on Thursday. It's only 3 hours, so that was a pretty quick read. And my goal is to get all the way through Rune and Rising this weekend and then just listen to a little bit of The Starless Sea. I probably won't finish that one before the end of the month, but we'll see. But yeah, so I figured I would just kind of show you what it is like when I am off teacher duty and what I do in my free, if you will, time. So here we go. So I did a little bit of reading. I'm currently on page 91 of Rune and Rising. I tend to read in, I guess, using sprints, if you will. I kind of set a timer for an hour or maybe 30 minutes and then just read until the timer goes off. That's just kind of how I've found the best way to get my reading in is for me. Now I'm kind of just taking a break, watching some YouTube videos, and then I'll get back into reading probably for another hour. I'm thinking it will probably take 4 hours or so for me to finish this whole book. It has a little bit over 400 pages. I think it's about 420 something, maybe. Let me look. About 417 pages. So I'm definitely thinking I can finish it by tomorrow. Excuse that loud car outside. So yeah, so that'll be my goal, is just to get through this whole book. I have one more book that I would like to read before the month is over. That one might be a stretch. With work, I don't often have chunks of time in the evening that I can really sit down and read because I'm so tired. But we'll see. I've already read more books this month than I have in a very long time. So regardless, this has been a good month, and we will just see how much more I can get done before the month is over. All right, I did another 30-minute sprint. So I am currently on page 150 of Rune and Rising. Nikolai has just shown back up, so I am very happy. He is probably my favorite character from this series. I also just want to kind of say it's been years since I read the first 2 books in this series, but with the Netflix series coming out, I figured now was a really good time to finish this series up. I do also want to read the series that revolves around Nikolai, and have been putting that off because I hadn't finished Rune and Rising, so I will be happy to cross this one off of my TBR. It's kind of my goal this year to really make a dent in the series that I've kind of just left hanging. I have a lot of book 3s that I never got around to reading, so my goal for 2021 is to kind of get those read, get them off my TBR, and move on to new things. So next month I have another book 3 that will be on my list of books that I'm going to read, and I've also requested another one through Interlibrary Loan that I'm hoping will come in next month that I'm also hoping to read because it will finish another series. So I am enjoying Rune and Rising. I have always liked Leigh Bardugo's writing. I find the mythology and kind of the world fascinating. The Grisha are really, I guess they were kind of unique when this was first written, and I just think she did a really good job fleshing out the world. So I'm excited to see how this series continues to go, and I'm looking forward to more of Nikolai's quips because his sense of humor is probably why he is my favorite. So I'm going to probably do another 30-minute sprint at some point tonight. I am here, so hopefully I can at least get to 50% and then finish the book off tomorrow. So we'll see. To do the Booktube newbie tag as part of my first reading vlog, just to kind of introduce you to myself. So I have the questions. I'll put them down below as well in case anyone else would like to answer them. But here is a quick introduction to me and my reading habits, I guess. So the first question is, why did you start this channel? I basically just wanted a creative outlet that could serve as a place to hold all of my various interests, so I decided to go ahead and create this channel to serve that purpose. Question number 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? So I think the biggest one is how I maintain my reading habit while not purchasing any new books. So I will link my video up in the cards here that talks about my low buy year and the things that I am not allowed to purchase. Books are one of those things. So basically this year I am not buying any new books, but I still plan on maintaining my love of reading and reading new things. I am just going to go about it in a different way than going to a bookstore and buying new books. So I will show you how I create my TBRs, how I read what I still want to read, even new releases, while not spending any money or adding any more new books to my already too full shelves. Question number 3, what are you most excited for about this new channel? So I'm kind of curious just to see how my filming technique will improve as I do more and more videos. I'm also kind of learning how to edit videos. That's something that I'd never done before. And I'm also excited to meet other people who might have the same interests as me. So this channel is not just about books. I'm including some beauty content. I'm also a teacher, so this channel will have some teaching content. And I just kind of am interested to see who might stumble upon my little corner of YouTube and kind of join me in my interest of those things. Question number 4, why do you love reading? So I think the biggest thing is that I've always been very good at visualizing things in my head. As I read words, it's very easy for me to kind of immerse myself into the world that the author has created. And I also find that reading is a good source of stress relief, which is very important when we are in the middle of a global pandemic and when I'm also a teacher. So I just think reading is something that genuinely makes me happy and that I just really love to do. Question number 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? So I've actually been a reader since I was very, very young. My grandmother signed me up for a service that sent books to me each month, and that started from the time I was probably 2. So I was getting new books in the mail constantly. My mom would read the books to me, or my grandma would read the books to me. And I basically just learned to read really, really quickly. I was actually reading prior to starting kindergarten. The first book I ever read by myself was Go Dog Go. But the series that probably got me avidly reading again would be Nancy Drew. When I was in about 4th or 5th grade, my friends and I used to check out all of the Nancy Drew books that were in our school library. We'd make visits to our local library, and we just kind of devoured the books, and we would talk about them at recess and kind of exchange them with each other. So I would say Nancy Drew was probably what got me avidly reading. And I also really, really loved the Sweet Valley High books as I got a tiny bit older. And then I also started doing romance novels once I hit about middle school. So that was kind of when my love of reading just took off. Question number 6, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? So honestly, I'm not sure. I don't watch a ton of booktubers. It's kind of a new genre, if you will, for YouTube videos for me, but probably I would ask some technical questions like the equipment that they use or what kind of editing software they use, and also just how they balance their everyday lives and their reading, because that is very, very difficult for me to do, especially during the school year. So I'm always curious how others kind of balance reading a lot in terms of putting out content and then also balancing their other activities and their jobs and things like that. Question 7 is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? And I think the biggest one is just being patient. It's going to take a lot of time for me to gain subscribers, and I need to just kind of let the process play out and ignore the numbers. I'm mostly doing this for me, and if anyone else happens to stumble upon my videos and like them and continue to subscribe to my channel, that would obviously be great. But I'm doing this for me, but also I'm hoping that I can maybe engage others. And so long as I can continue to view this as a creative outlet or a hobby, I think it's going to be fine. I mentioned earlier, finding time to be consistent with filming can be difficult since I am a teacher and that is obviously my first priority. But I am kind of going to really make it a point to continue to film and squeeze things in when I can, even as the school year winds down and I get much more busy with assessments and things like that. Question 8, when did you start reading? So I mentioned earlier that I was reading at a pretty early age, and it was about 5th grade when it actually became a hobby and something that I started to really love to do. I would go kind of in fits and starts from then on. I went through what some might call a trashy romance stage in middle school, and I also read a lot of just historical romance books in high school, and that it would kind of come and go, I guess, depending on how busy I was. I read more in the summer when I wasn't in school, obviously. And then once I was in college, I was a freshman in college, and I was introduced to the Harry Potter series at that point, and I've pretty much been actively reading ever since then. Question 9, where do you read? So I typically have an audiobook playing as I get ready each morning. That is just the easiest way that I've found to get through books in a consistent way. I will also usually have a physical or an ebook going, and I will typically read those on the weekends, maybe in the evenings after I get home from work. I like to just sit in the chair out in my living room, turn my TV on to either a crime drama rerun or a various sport. Baseball, basketball are usually the ones that I kind of go with. I'll have those on in the background, and then I'll just read in kind of sprints. So I'll set a timer, I'll read for 30 minutes, or maybe I'll set a timer and read for an hour. And that's pretty much how I do most of my reading. It just helps me continue on with the books and get through them in a kind of timely manner. Question 10, what kind of books do you like to read? So I pretty much gravitate towards YA. It can be normally contemporary, fantasy, paranormal. Those are all things that I read. I gravitate more towards fantasy and paranormal. I also like nonfiction books, romance novels, mysteries. And so I'm kind of eclectic with my tastes, but I would definitely say YA is where I tend to lean the most. And the last question, question 11, what does your book collection look like? And actually, most of my book collection is in boxes right now. When we found out that we would be virtual teaching at the start of the year, I had to do some rearranging in my room to make room for my virtual classroom. So a lot of the books that I had were just boxed up and they are currently in a storage locker. So I have one bookshelf in my bedroom that has books in it that I'm kind of hoping to read at some point this year. And then I also have a shelf up here that you can't see that also has some books on it. I have some series books up there, things that I just didn't want to pack up, like the Percy Jackson books, the Heroes of Olympus books, the Harry Potter books. Those are kind of up above where you can't see. And then I do have some other titles that I just kind of was interested in reading and so kept out of the boxes. My books mostly consist of young adult, as I mentioned. I also have a lot of middle grade. I have boxes and boxes of romance novels from when I was reading those in middle school and high school. I would really love to kind of go through those boxes at some point and really see what I have and kind of catalog them, because I'm sure that I've read tons of them that I do not remember reading, and I would love to kind of update my Goodreads with a full list of everything that I've read. But yeah, so that was the tag. Again, this one's called the Booktube Newbie Tag. I will put the questions down below again if you're interested, but I just thought that this might be a fun little way to introduce you to me and my reading habits and things like that. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll get back to my regular vlog content after this. All right, I just got done finishing my filming, so I went ahead and filmed 2 videos. I try to knock those out on Sundays. I do not have much time during the week to film, so I try to get videos pre-filmed on Sundays. So I did go ahead and do 2 videos. Now I'm going to clean up. I have to hang up some clothes out of the washer. I need to iron my clothes for next week, and then I am going to spend the rest of the evening reading so that I can hopefully finish Rune and Rising. So I will check in with you throughout the evening and let you know how that's going. And yeah, we shall see how the rest of my weekend goes. I have a few hours left to relax and not think about work as much as I do during the week, at least. So here we go. So I just read for about an hour and a half. I read about 100 pages, so I'm currently on page 297 of Rune and Rising. There was quite a bit of action in this section that I did not see coming. I'm going into this book pretty blind. I know a tiny bit about how it ends, mostly because I started listening to the audio of King of Scars quite a long time ago, but when I realized that there were some spoilers for the Grisha series, I stopped. So I'm going to hopefully be surprised as I read, I guess. I would say this book is about in line so far with the previous two in terms of how much I'm enjoying it. I do find Alina's connection to the Darkling pretty fascinating. The Darkling reminds me a lot of Tom Riddle, and I like that we got some backstory for him in the section that I just read. And yeah, I'm just curious to see how it's all going to play out. I have a little over 100 pages left. I'm going to crank those out tonight so I can be finished with the book, and then I would like to start watching the Netflix series probably sometime this week. So I know I'm kind of behind on that. I'm trying to avoid spoilers as much as you can avoid spoilers for a series that has been out for, I don't know, 7 years, 8 years. But yeah. Anyway, I am going to do some meal prep now, take a bit of a break from reading. I'm going to maybe import some footage into my computer so that I can start working on editing, and then I will get back to reading to see if I can finish the book up. So I will check in with you again later. And it's done. So it is about 9:45. I finished Runen Rising about 20 minutes ago or so, which is perfect because it is about time for me to get ready for bed. So really quickly, I'll just kind of give you my thoughts. I thought this was a solid ending to the series. There were some things that I didn't love about it, but I did enjoy the twists and turns. There were definitely quite a few things that happened that I was not expecting. So I'm really glad that I managed to stay spoiler-free, considering that this book came out in 2014, I believe. So yeah, definitely a solid series. I'm excited to start the Netflix series, and I'm also really excited to read the duology that is about Nikolai, because as I mentioned earlier in this vlog, he is my favorite character from this series. So I'm going to call it a night. I have a face mask that I'm going to put on. I'm going to get ready for bed and then hopefully get a good night's sleep, because tomorrow it is back to teacher mode. So thank you so much to those of you who tuned in to watch this reading vlog. I hope you enjoyed following me this weekend. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. I would love to have you stick around and join my little corner of YouTube, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye, everyone.